Hello, my name's Bruce Clark. I'm lucky enough to be a Riderwood resident, and I'm here today to tell you about a really nifty musical event that's coming up. On Friday, May 16th, we're going to be treated to a concert down in the Encore Theater featuring the Rattlesnake Hill Bluegrass Band. And yes, you did hear that right, Rattlesnake Hill, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, here to help me today to talk about these things is the head man for the Rattlesnake Hill Band, Mr. Ed Schaeffer, my good close friend and good musical buddy.
Yes.
Hi, Ed.
Hey, thanks for having me today.
Well, welcome to Riderwood, although actually that's a little bit redundant because you're somewhat of a semi-fixture here at Riderwood yourself, aren't you?
I'm happy to say. I have a lot of friends here.
Right, not resident yet.
I'm not a resident
No.
yet, but it seems all of my friends are moving in here.
Well, that's a good part of life, a good sign of life.
It would be.
So I was saying May 16th at the Encore Theater is going to be Rattlesnake Hill Band. Tell us a little bit about the band, about the concert.
So that lasts for an hour at that date. I think it's at 7 p.m.
7:30.
7:30,
according
thanks.
to my notes.
And
yeah.
it's here in the
Encore Theater.
Encore Theater, right in this building. It will last for an hour. We have 4 people in the band. That would be a banjo, fiddle, bass, and guitar with harmony vocals.
Who is in the band? How about some names of the people in the band?
Well, of course, Ed Schaeffer would be the guitarist and the singer. Barb Dieterich, who you know, also is bassist and a singer. Terry Wittenberg is a banjo picker and a singer, and our fiddler is Dave Goldman.
And you don't let him sing?
No, nor does he wish to.
Okay, we ought to talk a little bit about Barb Dieterich and yourself because we need to clarify something. That this is
right.
Here at Riderwood, we have done quite a number of bluegrass shows. We call them the Little Old Opry, sort of a takeoff on the Grand Old Opry down in Nashville. And about 4 or 5 times a year we put on a little stage show. And that's up in Montgomery Station in the Maryland Hall. And it features the Lonesome Pine Bluegrass Band. That's 2 different bluegrass bands. Eddie happens to be one of the star performers in Lonesome Pine, as is the bassist Barb Dieterich. So those of you who have come to those events know these people and will recognize them. The reason I'm emphasizing the difference between the two is I'm afraid that some people may get a little mixed up and march up the hill to Montgomery Station to go see Rattlesnake Hill, and that won't work. Rattlesnake Hill is going to be downstairs in the Encore Theater on May 16th,
I believe.
Right. So now explain to us, what the heck is a Rattlesnake Hill?
A Rattlesnake Hill. Well, I got that from where I grew up, which was northwest of Philadelphia, out in the country, along the Manatee River, which flows into the Schuylkill and down to Philadelphia. But there's a hill, a ridge, right in back of our house, called Rattlesnake Hill.
Because?
Oh, who knows where that came from. Now, the other side of the hill, because this is country out there, the other side of the hill is called Poole Hill, Poole. But our side of the ridge is called Rattlesnake Hill. It's sort of an interesting ridge there, an Appalachian ridge, because years ago someone went in there and mined it for stone. So there's a huge hole in it that is sort of its mark. The ridges to the north up in coal country fared a lot worse.
Yeah.
So they were gutted out pretty good, but so that's where Rattlesnake Hill comes from.
Okay. Tell us, how would you characterize the Rattlesnake Hill music?
Well, we do pretty much traditional style music with a lot of traditional bluegrass that's innate to the to that style, including a lot of well, I guess I should say some gospel, which is indigenous to bluegrass in general, and also because my granddad was a holiness Christian preacher back in the day. So, and I went to those types of churches when I was a kid. And then the third section of the music that we do is stuff that I wrote.
So you write music as well as
Right,
sing
yeah,
and play guitar?
That's right. Done that for years.
What else do you do? What other instruments? Anything else?
Well, I also play an upright bass in a jazz band. I have my own jazz band for about 18 years. So I do that. And I play upright bass in a Cajun band. And then I play a guitar and sing with another guitarist and singer, a duet. We usually add a bass player in there, but not Barb Diederich. And that's called All Mixed Up, which is evidence of our mental instability,
Right.
as well as the mixture of decades and styles that we do together. So it's two guitars and two beautiful harmonies. That's All Mixed Up.
Mr. Versatility.
Uh-huh.
Now, I've known you for, well, 5 or 10 years, I guess, and
Yeah.
I didn't quite appreciate all that versatility.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Amazing. I know you've written many good songs.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you have some of those on a CD,
Yep.
several CDs.
You seem to be just a little bit too bashful about promoting your own songs, I think. You ought
Well,
to,
maybe
you ought
that's
to promote
true.
that more often, because you
Yeah.
really do a good job of writing songs.
Thank you, Bruce.
I noticed when you started to talk about characterizing the music, you used the word tradition several times. Tradition is really important in bluegrass, isn't it?
Yeah, because it came out of the rural South here in America, in the United States, and also out of the church. That's where it got its, Bill Monroe said it's got the holiness in it, but it's got that attack mode.
Punch.
Yeah, punch is
Right.
a good way to say it. And people for years and years would not do things. It stayed acoustic when country music went electric.
Explain acoustic.
Acoustic means it can be amplified with microphones,
A microphone. Yeah.
but not electrified.
Right.
And Bill Monroe stuck to his guns when all of Nashville went electric.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say traditional, you're looking at that acoustic input.
Now, there is also a movement within bluegrass music today called newgrass. You don't do much newgrass, do you? You're more traditional, aren't you,
Right,
as a band?
and that started because the music sounded a little more modern, although with the same traditional instruments, which are mandolin, fiddle, guitar, and bass. And then they added a dobro. Bill Monroe never used a dobro,
Time out. You forgot one instrument.
and that is the guitar. Of
No.
course.
The banjo.
Oh,
My goodness.
why would you mention the banjo, Bruce?
Just happened to think of it.
Which is the precipitating instrument in all of bluegrass, would be the banjo. Country music does not use a banjo.
No.
Country music electrifies almost everything, and instead of the dobro, they use a pedal steel.
And they have
They have drums. too.
drums
Right.
like crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately. So bluegrass tends to be a little more restrictive than country music.
And the traditional word
And the
again.
traditional
right.
word, yeah. Inspiration also from people from the past. A lot of carryover of old-time songs.
Yeah, it's very common on stage. People will call off Bill Monroe tunes, Stanley Brothers, Jimmy Martin, and the cadre of original players that came along in the late 40s. So myself, I love the Stanley Brothers stuff. So and they call it mountain music rather than bluegrass.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a lot of that music, and they have a great singer called Carter Stanley, long gone. Ralph is still around, and a lot of folks will know him as the guy who sang "Oh Death" in the movie "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" And he won a Grammy for that
Right.
at the tender age of about 85.
Yeah. Right. He's carried on a long time. He's still performing today, although I think his son does all of the lead singing.
Right, he doesn't
these days.
play the banjo anymore.
No, not even that, huh? Let's see. Does anybody else in your band write songs besides yourself?
Well, Barb does too. You mentioned Barb Diederich,
Yeah.
who plays in your band, which is called
Lonesome Pine.
Lonesome Pine. and she plays bass with Rattlesnake
Right.
Hill, our current bass player. And as you well know, she has a bunch of her own songs
And how.
in several albums.
And Hal, good writer and a solid bass player. Really, I always call her the lady who keeps us on the straight path to true rhythm. Good solid bass player. Well, let's talk about your musical career. How did you get started in the way back days? How did you get into music in the first
Well,
place?
the short story is when I got out of college, I was still hanging around college, and I would go to parties and talk with people, and I would keep bringing up this, there's something not quite right in my life. And so I didn't feel right somehow, but when people would say, well, what do you mean? I had no answer.
Uh-huh.
And finally someone said, oh, you need to do something with your hands. And I went, oh, that's what it is. So some type of spiritual connection. That's really what the bottom line was, I think.
Okay.
So I chose either carpentry or music, both doing something with my hands,
Right.
and picked music.
Uh-huh. What a story.
So I got into classical guitar, and I did that for 5 years. And then when I wanted to play with other people, I picked up the bluegrass banjo.
Mm-hmm.
And did that for about 5 years until it got too heavy for my back to support. I discovered I could sing, so I went to the guitar. And
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it all spun
later
down
on,
from
I
there.
picked up the bass because of jazz.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I got tired of the bluegrass scene and thought to do something different. I also had something wrong with my right arm, so I started playing bass, which got me into a different physical approach, and that has never stopped either. And came back into grass about 8 years ago.
Uh-huh. Well, glad you came back.
Thank you.
We never would have met if you
Thank
hadn't.
you, and I'll be here the 16th. You can see it.
Now, how about the inspiration to start your own band, Rattlesnake Hill? When,
Well,
and where, and why?
Yeah, the way that works is that if you have a guitar and you sing, then people assemble around you. You're the stone in the stone soup. So everyone else adds on top of that a little of this and a little of that, and soon you have a soup. So I'm a front man, what they call a front man, so I sing and play and address the audience, and the people around me are called sidemen. So I usually hire and engage the sidemen, and my goal is always to get the best pickers that I can.
You use the term engage, and one of the things that I've always admired about you is the way you engage the audience
Well,
and what's going on. There are bands
Yeah.
who just get up and
Well-
say, here's song number 1, here comes number 2, here comes number 3,
yeah.
and that can just go so far.
Yeah, there is a notation in bluegrass music called, negative stage presence. Negative stage presence. That's what, and of course, I abhor that.
Let's see. Do you ever? How about standing in the spotlight? Don't you ever feel ill at ease standing in the spotlight?
Well, when I first...
Or you're like me, not for a moment. When the spotlight comes
Well,
on,
you're
something
good.
clicks.
You're good. When I first started out and played the classical guitar, I was so frightened that my hands shook,
Ooh,
which meant I couldn't play.
yeah.
It was a real quandary. So through the years, I got used to being in front of an audience, being comfortable in front of an audience, and now it pretty much comes second nature.
How did you learn to play guitar in the first place? Did you take lessons or self-teach or
I took a few lessons and did the rest on my own.
good for you?
Yeah.
Eddie is a very, very good guitar player, as well as a singer. How about some other recent performances around the area by your band?
Well, just
or coming performances
yeah.
as well?
Today is Monday, the 28th of April. Yesterday, I played at Cactus Flats.
Where's that?
Well, that's about 7 miles north of Frederick, Maryland on Route 15. And it's a roadhouse, so people come in and eat and dance. And there's also a lot of bikers who come in, very, very friendly bikers, I might add, support the band. Very family atmosphere, kids come, even little children. Great place to play. So I played there, and other bluegrass clubs around the Washington area, like Tiffany Tavern in Old Town Alexandria.
Mm-hmm. JV's.
JV's Restaurant
Yep.
in Falls Church, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
But we've played a multitude of places. For example, on May 16th, we're going to play Riderwood.
Right.
So hope you all come out for that. So parties downtown, the name goes out on the web. I get phone calls from folks,
Mm-hmm.
thank the Lord. So it keeps us pretty busy.
Good. Tell us, what do you appreciate about your unique Rattlesnake Hill band and your unique role?
That's
in
a
the
nice
band?
question. Well, in that I get to express myself. I get to do my own songs. What I do is indicative of who I am. And I love to mix with the audience. I love to hear the music right in the circle of musicians. So I'm right up front. I have a front row seat at all times, and that's what turns me on about it.
Good. Okay. I guess we're about ready to wrap up. Now, is
Okay.
there anything else you wanted to toss in?
Let's see. Just hope you come out and hear some good bluegrass music. It'll be up-tempo. You'll have some harmonies and a little movement on stage. So invite all of you out on the 16th at the theater.
Encore Theater.
Encore Theater.
Right.
So it's only an hour. Come out and enjoy yourself. Look forward to having all of you come.
Please do, folks. Don't miss this music show, whatever you do. Those who enjoy the bluegrass that we do as Lonesome Pine up the hill, come on to this one as well. And bring along people who've never heard the music before. I'm sure we'll get a lot of people who will say, what's bluegrass music?
Yeah,
well,
right.
a good way to find out. Come on down. You'll enjoy the music. Come down, stomp your feet, clap your hands,
That's it.
participate, sing along occasionally. You
Bring
might
a
get
cowbell.
Bring a cowbell. It is, again, Friday, May 16th in the Encore Theater. You will see posters appear a little shortly before that, a week or so before the date. They will appear in the elevators and on the bulletin boards. The show starts at 7:30, and I believe the doors open at 7 o'clock. That's when the mad rush starts. All of our hot women, our hot senior single women, like to sit in the front row so they can rush the stage and get to Eddie when he's up there.
I'm looking forward to that.
Advance sales for the tickets are $5 as usual, and the advance sales will be on Monday and Tuesday, May 12th and May 13th in all of the dining lobbies as usual.
Ah.
The advance sales will be between the times of 4:30 and 6:30. And if you'd like to continue to learn a little bit more about Eddie and about bluegrass music and Rattlesnake Hill, there's an article in the Riderwood Reporter for May. So hopefully we'll see you at the performance on May 16th. Bye now.
They shine like golden wine go to my head. Always said you were a prize. Pretty blue eyes, so won't our children be as pretty as you? Don't hesitate. I can't wait to see them eyes. Somebody loves you, darling. Somebody cares. It'll be that day someday when I'm old and gray. I'll be there by your side. I'll be the man of purity lies. Wondrous sight of pretty blue eyes.